Hello everyone, welcome to Chao, where we talk about everything milk tea, coffee, smoothies and prep. For those of you that have been planning to start a milk tea and coffee shop before the lockdown period, the questions that might be running in your heads right now are, is this still a good time to open your milk tea shop or coffee shop? And if so, how do you go about doing it amidst all the uncertainties, including a potential second wave and further lockdown? If you want to know the answers to these questions, stick around for the rest of this video. So before we answer those two big questions, let's look at what actually happened to the milk tea and cafes during the quarantine period. All of these shops were asked to shut down. Locations that were considered to be prime location were all dead. We're talking about schools, colleges and universities, offices, airports, tourist attractions. Absolutely no income for those that were operating in these areas. On top of that, we have the problem of rent. Many of the milk tea and coffee shop operators are renting their premises. With our shops closed, how on earth are we going to pay the rent? How on earth are we going to pay our staff? The staff more than ever need the income from their jobs. How can we pay them? For those that were lucky enough to continue their operations, albeit with limited operations, mostly takeout and deliveries, supply chain was severely disrupted. These were the biggest problems that most of the business operators faced during the quarantine period. Some businesses actually were quick enough, or maybe too quick, to shut down their operations before they suffer any more losses. Yes, there were challenges during the quarantine period. But for those that were hardworking, resilient, and quick enough, they were also offered opportunities. Smaller milk tea and cafes that were located in residential areas experienced a surge in their sales. For those with online delivery services, their sales also surged. Why? Because there were less competitions. No shopping malls open during the quarantine period. Suddenly, you see a proliferation of home-based businesses, those selling products and services directly from their own homes. Never before have we seen so many products sold on Facebook or online. We're talking about coffee, milk tea, cakes, bread, home-cooked food, face masks. All of these became very saleable during the quarantine period. So it is actually easier to start a business during the quarantine period if you were quick enough to make that decision. I have also seen people convert their front yard to be a cafe, and they put up a cart or kiosk in front of their house and started selling drinks, especially if they are located in a residential area where people are restricted to going around the block. So it's not all bad news. You have challenges and there were also plenty of opportunities. Now let's look at the new normal after the quarantine or the lockdown period. What are the implications to the milk tea and coffee shops? First, some of the shops have to be inspected for readiness to reopen. That means implementing proper social distancing rules. New seating arrangements, new table arrangements, new cleaning procedures. Staff must be fitted with a new uniform, meaning to say they have to wear face masks, they have to wear face shields, and in some cases, gloves. All of these require extra effort and extra cost, but some things that we need to do when we continue our operations. What has not changed? People still love their coffee and milk tea, quarantine or not. A week into post-lockdown and you see people clamoring into their favorite milk tea and coffee shops. We simply miss sitting in a coffee shop, having a cup of coffee or tea with friends and family. Now that we have looked into the challenges, the opportunities, and the new normal for milk tea and cafes, let's go back to our questions. Is this still the right time to start a milk tea or coffee shop? And how do we go about doing it? Let's answer the second question before we go back to the first question. How do we go about opening a new milk tea or coffee shop post-lockdown? Here are my tips. Number one, start small. Be cautious with your investment. Investment in milk tea or coffee shops are scalable. So you can start small or you can start big. My suggestion is you start small enough so that you minimize the risk and big enough so that you don't get eaten alive by the competition. Number two, minimize your fixed costs. If you can, start a home-based business. If you are located in an area where there are people passing by, convert some part of your house to be a milk tea or coffee shop. Put up a cart or kiosk in front of your house and see how it goes. Fixed costs also include staff. Hire the minimum number of staff to start with. Number three, look at the local regulations in your area. In Thailand and in Philippines, it's possible to start a home-based business without registering the business just yet. Make sure you consider this before you start your operations. Number four, make sure you incorporate health and safety. Customers are looking for more hygienic products, more so than ever before. Number five, make sure you have facility for online ordering and delivery services. Companies like Grab and Foodpanda require that you have a storefront and also that you are registered with the Bureau of Internal Revenue or BIR before you can actually be included in their list of shops. If you cannot get Grab or Foodpanda, make sure you look at other alternatives. Now, these 5 suggestions or tips are not exactly in that order. Just make sure you consider all of them before you start your operations. So let's go to the big question. Is this still a good time to start your milk tea or coffee shop? Well, my answer to that is a big yes. As I have said, people are still into milk tea and coffee. Quarantine has not changed that. Another thing to note is that there might be some shops that actually shut down their operations during the lockdown or quarantine period. That means you have an opportunity to start a new one in your area. Don't be afraid of competition. Where I live is not a commercial area, but within a 1 kilometer stretch, there's about 20 milk tea and coffee shops. Customers have different tastes and preferences. Who knows, they might just prefer yours. So there you have it, just a short video clip to give some ideas to those that are still deliberating whether or not to open their milk tea or coffee shop post-lockdown. I'd say just do it. Follow the tips that I have in this video tutorial and get your products out there. In my next video tutorial, I'm going to talk about how to start a successful milk tea or coffee shop. Stay tuned. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll see you in my next video. For those that have not yet subscribed to this channel, click that subscribe button below. Click like if you like this video. Thank you for watching and ciao for now.